All right, so when you get started, you want to start with an end that is at a 45-degree angle. If it's not already cut like that, you just take your scissors and make that happen. It's super easy, of course. And you're going to start with your color and your bit of yarn. So when you do this, you're going to actually work from down the way a little bit and then up. Let me move that arrow. Okay. I'm going to lay this down here on this cord. You don't have to tie this or do anything like that. It's going to be tucked under, whoops, where you're coiling. So it'll be nice and secure if you do it this way. I'm going to start back about 2 inches from the end, and I'm just holding that down. Whoops. And very carefully wrapping over it. As I wrap around this, I'm trying to be good about making sure that the yarn just gets wrapped right next to itself, but not overlap, and also not show any white. So you want it just side by side, and I mean tight enough, but you don't have to like break your fingers to try to get this tight or break the yarn in 2 pieces. And so you're going to wrap up this way. Now, when you get here, you're going to stop before you reach the bottom of that angle. You're going to leave yourself a little white showing, okay? And at this point, I'm going to take a bunch of extra off of the ball of yarn that I have and cut that, because I'm going to thread this right now, and I want to leave myself extra so I have extra to work with. There are 2 different types of needles, and you can see the difference. One's bigger, one's smaller. It's kind of personal preference which one you pick. Just pick one. That's all you need. And then please try to be very good and conscious about keeping that one for yourself and not like just losing it or having it drop on the floor and come getting another one, because even though these are small and they're cheap and they're plastic, I don't have 500 to spare, okay? So I've been telling people that, so you just make sure you keep it with you, okay? So to thread that, and I like the smaller needle, I'm going to loop this onto itself here, and I just pull this out. I'm not going to tie this to itself. I'm just pulling that through and leaving a little extra there. So I'm going to go back to this. It got unraveled a bit. All right, now I'm going to push this down here. So I'm carefully going to tuck this back and have this meet up back there so it's white touching the white. And then I'm going to take this. Now I'm going to break the rule here I originally gave you, which is don't overlap. Here you're going to overlap some. So you have a good solid connection there, and you're going to wrap this down the end here. All right. Now please remember, please keep in mind that the first time you do that is probably not going to be successful. If it is, yay. If it's not, try again. I'm running into a lot of people who will try this once, not get it, and then raise their hand and expect me or want me to just come do it for them. And I just can't do that. I can't start 30 different baskets. So if that unravels or gets too loose, you don't have much time invested right now. Just go back to it and start it again. All right. Now I'm going to sew this to itself, but I need to pull this tight. I'm going to hold this tight with my one hand, and in my other hand I am taking that needle and coming up through the middle there. And I'm pushing that up through that way. I'm still holding on tight to the side where it's connecting. I pull that up tight. I'm going to stitch right here twice, because that's a good way to keep it kind of connected. So I've come up through the middle now once. I'm going to keep that stitch clean, come up twice now, and then I'm back around here. All right, so once I've done that, then I'm going to very carefully come through and keep coiling. So you'll get faster and faster at this. I'm going to wrap that on itself about another inch or so to make sure that I have a tight basket. I want to stitch often. I'm going to come up through the middle again. and stitch through here. So I'm coming up through there, I'm pulling that tight on itself, and again, when you make this, when you come through the middle again for that stitch, that's going to be the last time you ever stitch through the middle. You're always going to, as you go, stitch to the next available spot. So from here, that's going to be just the row back, and I'll show you what I mean in a second. I'm going to wrap this around here, and now I've run out of yarn, which is a good thing because I can show you that it's super easy when you run out. If you have about that much, cut it back so you have just a little bit. You're going to lay that down, grab new yarn from your stash, hold that down too together, and keep going. So again, there's no tying involved. You just secure the yarn under itself. Be careful as you go. Don't go so fast that you have those come up and out of your coiling. I'm going to wrap down about another inch again. Unravel a bunch more from the ball of yarn, and I'm almost done here on this. I'm going to thread this again, and it's just the same process over and over. It's what a lot of people really like about this project. Okay, now I'm not going to stitch back to the middle. I'm stitching to the next available spot, which is right here. Okay, now I want to show you another option for a stitch though, because you can do it this way. You can see on this that, you know, the stitches do show up. It's okay if you do them cleanly, but some people might want to try doing it in a way that you don't see the stitches, which would be to kind of make a figure 8. So bear with me here as I explain. Right now the motion of the yarn is coming up this way. So if I go down to stitch here, pull that through, and then I come down but back up. Okay, let's see, I'm going to spread this out so you can see better maybe. So I've come like this on there. So it looks like when I stitch, it looks like this. And that's a way to get that stitched up nice and tight, but the stitch doesn't show on that one. So it's not required that you do that, guys, but something you might want to figure out or consider. And you just keep going with that over and over. What are your questions on this? Anything? Okay, I'm going to put that to the side then, and